Man, I sure wish there was an easy button. What if I just, phew, glad that was fast. Hey y'all, trying out a microphone, and I got a new hat, so I thought that'd be fun. I think it's about time for an update. It's been a couple weeks, I think, and let's take a look around the garden and see what's growing. First off, I wanted to talk about this volunteer tomato. Now, the sun rises from like that direction and it sets like basically right behind me. This tomato plant hardly gets any sun. If it does, it's like midday and it's not very long. So I'm not sure how it's thriving. I mean, it's not really thriving, it's tiny, but it does have some flowers. So there may be something to it. I'm just leaving it to see what happens. And then over here, I noticed, don't worry about this. This was the tree that I cut down, but I didn't plant this elephant ear. It came back from last year, which is not typical in my zone. Um, so yeah, I need to clean that up, but yay for elephant ears. Sometimes I don't talk about the flowers, the perennials that I have in the front yard, because it's out front and the rest of my garden is out back. So here's a quick look. You might never see it again, but there are lots of perennials in here that come back, lots of milkweed for the monarchs. And then I have another little circular bed down this hill a little way that I'll show you in just a second. Okay, it's kind of a good thing that I came out here to add this to the video because this bed was in desperate need of some weeding. So this plant that's directly in front of us is a Mexican sunflower, and the monarchs absolutely love it, which is why I'm a registered monarch way station, which means I keep flowers in my yard that attract the pollinators. So we have some zinnias that actually I dug up from other places in the yard. They didn't love having their roots disturbed, but they bounced back. And then in the middle, that's a cone flower that I planted. It's a perennial. And then I got another one. It's a perennial, but this sunflower is starting to shade it out, so it might not take off until next year. A quick peek at some more volunteer zinnias that I didn't intend to plant here, but I love a good volunteer, so I usually encourage that. Oh, and a cute little pink one on the other side of the stairs. And yeah, that's trumpet vine. I gotta get in there and do something about that. Whoopsies, that's a future Diana problem. And another volunteer, which is marigolds. And there's poison ivy in there, and canna lilies, and yuccas, and hostas, and honey vine. There's a, what do you call that thing? A thistle. I said yuccas. This is the same area where the elephant ear was. Like, there's just so many things in here. Most of it I don't want. But, you know, it is what it is. This is the north side of the house, so it doesn't get a lot of sun. Really, none for the most part. But yeah, just a very unkept area of my garden. Okay, I am wearing just an old t-shirt and the jeans that I wore to work today, so excuse me, I don't look any way put together. But I wanted to show you that with my strawberries, I'm trying this put a bag on them situation. And it's just a mesh bag. You can get them on Amazon. And the reason is because I've been dealing with roly-polies so hardcore this year that they eat anything that touches the ground. They eat seedlings, they eat your fruit. And I just moved these strawberries from out front, and I wasn't getting any because every time a fruit would come on, the roly-polies would eat it. So, excuse me while I pull weeds, because how do you not pull weeds if you see them? Okay, so that's what the bags are over here. In this bed, we have strawberries. We have cantaloupe over on this side over here. And then over here, these are Kajari melons. They're a little personal melon that I've seen Jess with Roots and Refuge grow. And I wanted to give it a try. This area is not in the sun, as you can see, and it is about 6 p.m. Central Standard Time, and this should be the heat of the day. And these plants aren't in it. So I'm not sure how that's going to impact fruit production. Melons are probably going to suffer because they need more heat. The little pink flags are actually nasturtium seeds, like telling me where I planted them, because I've never been successful in getting a nasturtium planted from seed. And again, I'm still not successful in this area because there's none here. And those have been there for, a couple of weeks, maybe pushing 3 weeks. So I think it's safe to say they're not going to germinate here either. This bed was a last minute addition to this garden, which, my intrusive thoughts took over. I've had this arch here with the idea of growing melons over it for a couple of years since I put my greenhouse here. And I just think it'll be really cool to have vining plants over each way to get around the greenhouse. I don't know. Maybe that's me. But these are cantaloupe that I bought. And I bought them because the other cantaloupe that were over there that I already showed you hadn't germinated yet. So I thought we were having a problem and the pill bugs took them. So I went ahead and bought some. And then I noticed when I got home to plant them that they were already sprouted. So these are a little ahead because they were already established plants, but the others are doing pretty good, even though they probably don't have enough sun. It's an experiment, all right? It's all a test. All right. This is the pepper bed. And you'll notice that there's not only peppers in the bed, because there are some volunteers and there are some other things that I put in there. This is a volunteer tomato plant. It looks to be cherry tomatoes or grape tomatoes or whatever, small variety, but it is giant and taking up so much space. There's a lot of blooms on it. I decided to let it go, but let it do whatever it wanted. So it's just hanging out over the side. We're not mad at her. The other volunteer that I want you to take note of is this cucumber plant. I know it's at the edge of the frame, but it's actually rooted over here, like next to where this tomato plant is spilling out. And so if I didn't already explain this, all of these garden beds were out front. So I paid somebody with a skid steer to help me pick up the beds, put them down back here, scoop all the dirt, and dump it back in here. And when that happened, there was enough seeds in the dirt that got put back in here that I got volunteers. So, and I just said earlier, I'm all for a volunteer. So we left her, there was actually 4 cucumbers that sprouted. And it's funny, they sprouted when I took a tray out of my greenhouse and set it out here to harden off. And then when I moved it, there was like 4 little cucumber sprouts. And when they're babies, you don't know what they are. Could be squash, could be cucumber, could be whatever. They all look the same. So by the time it got around to where it started getting big enough, I didn't know what it was. And I'm like, let's find out. And here she is. She's glorious. She's got 1, 2, 3, 4 baby cucumbers starting. And I had these shelves. There's 2 of them. If you notice, I didn't put the other one in, but they were back here behind the tomatoes and they were for hardening off. But I realized when I was hardening things off from the greenhouse to here that I could just put them in the empty beds to harden off. I didn't need the shelves. So I moved them away from the fence because, as you can see, or maybe you can't, there's Virginia creeper back there. And there's also honey vine all over my yard. And I didn't need things I didn't need climbing on the shelf to be climbing on the shelf. So I moved them. And then the first day that the cucumber grabbed the shelf, I was like, no. That's not what you're supposed to be doing. And then as it got bigger, I was like, well, maybe I could put it on this arch. And then I was like, no, I really want the cucumber to go on the arch and not have to compete with the cucumber. So maybe the shelf is the cucumber's home. So I put her back in there. She's climbing. She's holding on. I don't know. I bought, I think, 6 plants maybe. 2 jalapeno and 4 bell pepper, if I remember correctly. Because I was like, I am not going through all this and not having peppers. So got that, put them in here, put them in at the same time. I just noticed the dirt around the tomato is like disturbed. Why is it disturbed? Oh my God. There's a giant hole. I wonder if it's a vole or a mole or a mouse. I don't think it's big enough to be a groundhog. I'm afraid to put my hand in there. Okay, we're going to deal with that later. So where was I? I put the plants in the same time I put the seeds in that I had started, and it was looking pretty grim. But now I can't even really tell which plants I started and which ones I bought, except for the fact that I put the tag on a couple of them. So anywho, I think that's all I wanted to talk about the peppers. All right, so here you'll see okra, which I started from seed. And we have four that are doing pretty good. And then we have this one. All started at the same time with the same conditions. I'm not sure what's wrong with it, but I'm not going to pull it because it could still give me some okra. So, maybe it just needs some more time. It does need some more heat. Our Kansas weather has been so up and down and ridiculous lately that I don't know what to say. Okay, and in here, there are 2 eggplant plants that I started from seed. I wasn't very hopeful. I might have even mentioned it in the last vlog. They were just searching for sun when I put them in there. And it looks like they're going to do something. So, all right. They survived the flea beetles and they're doing pretty good. By the way, since I'm holding the phone, look at all that dirt. I literally just mulched last night and the hole is right there. I don't know what's doing it. How do you catch something that you don't know what it is? Like, please tell me. This section is asparagus, and you don't see anything because I've moved it 3 times just this season. So it needs to rest, it needs to build energy, and that's a marigold in the corner. If you see random flowers mixed within my vegetables, they're probably a marigold. I do have a couple of volunteers that came in the dirt, like I explained earlier. That is a cucamelon. And there's another one right there. And they're adorable and lovely, and I need to get them a place with a trellis. Let's move to the next bed. Welcome to the tomato bed. I mean, I don't know. I love growing tomatoes. I'm even loving the smell of them now. When I first started, I was like, ew, tomatoes smell gross. But now I'm like, give me that tomato smell. And if you look here, I still have some tiny pepper plants that are clinging on to life. I was going to gift them to a friend, and then we never met up. And how it's not dead, I have no idea. But it just sits there, and it lives amongst the tomatoes. You're also going to see, this is basil. I just bought that. And then marigolds down the center to try to ward off pests, which usually I have had tomato hornworms once or twice in the past, but I've started putting marigolds in with the tomatoes, and I haven't seen them since. So I'm going to continue to do that. Interrupting the tomato discussion to talk about this green stalk. When I moved all the strawberries from out front, I filled every single pocket with a strawberry root. It had leaves, but when I replanted it, it was on a very cold, windy day, and then we had that freeze. And they never came back. So yesterday, I planted strawberry seeds, and I ate a couple of my strawberries and just planted the butts. Is that what you call it? The end where the green is. And so this tier and this tier have strawberry seeds or these 2 butts. And, maybe we'll do better next year, or maybe I can throw some lettuce in there. I I don't know. It's about to get 100 degrees, and I don't really know what else to put in here right now. If you have a suggestion, toss it in the comments. Here is a little cucumber tour of the volunteer cucumber I was talking about earlier. Fun! So look at how many little yellow flowers there are. Can you count them? You can't, because there's 10,000 of them. So also I'm dealing with that inconsistent watering leaf rolling. Once I find the actual term for it, I'll put it up on the screen. But some of my plants, the leaves are rolling in, and it's from inconsistent watering. It's not disease. It's not, something's getting me. Oh, hey, quit getting fresh with me. I've been lucky enough that it's been raining every week or every other week a lot. Like real heavy rains and flooding and things have been happening in my neighborhood. So I can't control the little rolls, but just know everybody deals with different things, and your garden's not going to be perfect, and you shouldn't strive for perfect. You should strive for good enough. This is the other side of the tomato bed. What is that? Is this literally a pepper? Are you joking? I don't even know if you guys can see it. This is honeydew. Nope, not honeydew. Honey vine. This is honey vine. It grows everywhere. I think that is a pepper plant. And I'm pretty sure, like, obviously it's a volunteer. I didn't put it there. We're going to leave her. Love a volunteer. Yeah. Like I said, I mulched recently. I have marigolds down the center. I put 2 basil plants. I took this volunteer from the cucumber bed. We're getting there. And that's what this one is. So I didn't give it a cage. I just plopped it in here, and it's spilling like that other one over there. And we're fine with that. It's fine. Okay, so we got dill here. This is cilantro. It's going to seed, obviously, if you can't tell. And then this is basil. So I had some basil growing out front last year. And all of these basil plants that are in this bed were growing out front. And I dug them up and stuck them back here. They didn't love it. They were droopy and they didn't like life for a long time, and they bounced back. So, you know, there's a lot of things online that talk about, oh, these don't like their roots disturbed. Don't do this. Don't do that. I say do what you want in your garden. And if it fails, you know better for next time. If it thrives, do it again. Like, there's no rules. It's your rules. It's your garden. Moving on. Just a quick little pathetic update for this wildflower bed. It gets so much sun. Those marigolds I bought. Everything else is from seed, and it is not thriving. I have plans to move it for next season, but I wanted what was in there to have a chance, so I wanted to leave it. How did grass get up there? How? Just how? This is my cole crops bed. So this is spinach right here, and I'm waiting for the seeds because I've never saved seeds from spinach. This is broccoli, and I purchased these 6 broccoli plants because the broccoli seeds that I put in, they didn't germinate, or anyway, I didn't do good with broccoli, so I bought some. And this mesh bag is intended to keep a hold of the little pods that come off when it's time for seeds. So the last 2, maybe 3 years I've tried to save seeds from broccoli. Something has eaten the seed pods before I even get a chance to harvest the seed pod. Bug, pest, I don't know. So it's like, it's a really big bag, and you can see how tall it is, but I just moved it up earlier today because I want it to continue to grow up, and then I want it to do its seed pods, and I want to catch them. I don't want them to fall off, and I don't want anything to eat them. So that's what that is. And we still have some over here that are turning into little flowers, and the pollinators can like them, and whatever likes to eat my seeds can eat those, but not in this bag. And even though it is near the end of June, I cannot believe that I still have broccoli. I already harvested like 4 heads of broccoli, And even though I cut it, I thought once you cut a stem of broccoli off, which is down in here somewhere, I don't know if I can show you. Yeah, you can see that dead part. I thought once you cut it, it was done. So I just left that one to be shade for the others because they weren't quite done. And then I realized it was growing more broccoli. So this one is obviously too far. We don't want to eat that. That's for seed. But I can harvest that and eat it tonight or tomorrow. And I'm just flabbergasted. I thought one and done. Any experience with broccoli like that in your neighborhood? Behold, my other volunteer cucumber that my chickens left me. I used to have chickens. And I decided that the effort it was to keep the chickens and get the eggs wasn't worth the amount of eggs we were eating. So while it was super fun and I love birds, it just didn't make sense for the time. And I'm only on about an acre of land. So the chicken coop was right over here before I got rid of them, which was November of 2025. And when this sprouted, I didn't know if it was a squash, a zucchini, a pumpkin. I didn't know. So I left it and it started growing. And I decided that it needed a very special trellis because it's out in the middle of nowhere. It's not in a garden bed. And I want to see what it is. So, yep, there it is. Another cucumber volunteer. Thanks, chickens. Oh, by the way, before I move this angle, that sunflower is giant. So on my channel, I plan to strive to be real. I want people to relate to me, identify, feel some kind of connection, like, ah, man, I do that too. Whatever. So if I drop a cuss word or something, sorry about that, but move on. And I have kids, so there's going to be chaos and there's going to be stuff all over. So if you don't like it, just move on. If you want to stick around and see how my garden grows, hit that subscribe. I just wanted to quickly go over these beds because there's not a lot going on. Those 4 pepper plants I bought. I used to have some cabbage and some carrots growing in there. And oh my God, there's a carrot growing literally right here. And you can't see it because it's off camera. They're still down there. I didn't undo them, but this is obviously still in full sun. And the things that I planted here do not like full sun. They want cold, nice, cozy, chilly situations. So I went ahead and mulched it, hoping that either number one, it'll weed out the ones that aren't strong enough to grow and it'll hold enough moisture to grow what's in there, or it'll just smother it. Because I'm tired of like, oh my God, is it ever going to grow? I get excited. I just hit the mic. I'm sorry. I get excited. And I think this is going to be my pepper bed next year because I'm having some trouble with back pain, bending over and trying to look for things. Especially when I get to the beans, you'll see what I mean. We have cats in our neighborhood, just like neighborhood cats or whatever. And of course, we have bunnies and squirrels and everything else. So I haven't put any chicken wire on these yet. I might have to in the future. And when you do that, you have to bend over. And my back doesn't love that. So I thought peppers would be something easy that once it gets big enough or turns red, I can see it and it gets the most sun. So they're going to love this like tropical situation. This is lemon balm that started sprouting out front and I dug it up just like I did the basil over there. And I just found another hole. What the hell is this? I had wildflower seeds in here and I had bought a perennial flower. This is going to be wildflowers or perennials or whatever will grow here. But I didn't have it mulched, so I mulched it yesterday, and if there's any seeds that are strong enough, they'll keep going, and if not, they're done. And this is oregano. It was transplanted from the front, and it doesn't love life right now, but I have full confidence that it'll come back because it's crazy. So this is what I've dubbed the south side. The other one was the north. This one's the south. Very clever name, right? All right, we got summer squash and marigolds in this bed. And this is Yukon Gold potatoes, which I accidentally let them dry in my greenhouse too long and they started molding. But I decided, let me just go ahead and bury them and plant them anyway, see what happens. I did have a sprout, so I just re-mulched and added more in an attempt to try to go ahead and facilitate growth. So there's a lot of hay seeds growing in there, but I don't know. Let's hope for some potatoes. And the idea with this tower situation, if you haven't ever seen it, is so that you can easily take it apart and find your potatoes. I have grown potatoes before. Digging them up was not my favorite thing. I found so many bugs in the garden that I didn't know were going to be living with my potatoes that I was like, this isn't really my favorite thing to do. So I love potatoes. Who doesn't love a potato? But when I saw this solution, I was like, maybe that's how I get potatoes. So you just take off the fencing around it, and you just look through it instead of having to actually dig with like a pitchfork or a shovel or whatever. And I did run into that where I would dig and I would hit a potato, and then you either have to use it or it's done. You can't store it after that. So yeah, this is an experiment. There's lots of those in my garden. So this is what I call the cucumber bed. You'll notice there are not only cucumbers in this bed. All the marigolds, which are these leafy situations happening, those grew from seed that was already in the dirt. This is the bed that I was talking about, had so many volunteer tomatoes that I had to get rid of some to make room for my actually planted cucumbers. So the lone tomato plant that wasn't in the way at the time is over there. We've got one tomato off of it so far because it volunteered. It started so early. It was like, yeah, sis. And I'm like, go, bro. I don't know. I'm trying to be funny. I should probably stop that. But what are you doing? You're not helping yourself. Okay. It's all tangled. It's tangled with its tendril and its leaves, and that's a future me problem. Also, in the front, we have recently planted chives. I don't know. I saw something on the internet that said chives detour pests. So we're trying that. These lovelies are onions. And they're either Spanish yellow or Utah. I don't remember. I bought them as starts, like little slips, and they're loving life. I have a couple that are like big enough to eat already, and that just makes my heart so happy. I don't use onions every day, but I live with my grandma, and she uses onions maybe 2 to 3 times a week. So having homegrown onions that taste better, look better, we know what's been put into them, there's no preservatives. It was just like a no-brainer for my family. So is that everything in here? I got some silver slicers. I got burpless cucumbers. Oh, and that's a bee bath. I have a swimming pool, and a lot of bees tend to like in my swimming pool. So I was like, maybe if I give them a cute little bath, they won't in my swimming pool. So far, it has not worked. But once they find it, I'm sure it'll work. It's going to work, right? We just have to have hope. This is another potato tower, but this one has russet potatoes in it. And I appropriately dried them, and I didn't let them get moldy. And you can see one sprouting out the side right there. Isn't that so cute? And I just re-amended with some more soil and some more mulch. So you don't see anything poking up, but there was, I promise. I actually don't think this is enough. I don't think the onions that I planted and that took will be enough for an entire year for like my grandma or my family. So more onions next year. Fun! I'm sad to report that my pumpkins fell victim to squash vine borer. And they started dying. And then I got the BT out. Oh, I got your tripod stuck. Sorry about that. I got the BT out, and I injected BT into the vines on all my squash, actually, because the vine borers were everywhere. And then the internet told me to mound up the dirt around the existing vines, so I did that. And these leaves actually look very perky for someone that has a hollow stem. I mean, They also heard me planting new seeds yesterday. I planted like 4 seeds. Like, if you guys aren't going to do anything for me, I'm planting more. And they were like, no, wait, we'll do something. Look, we can be good. We'll show you. Again, I'm just kidding. These little flags, the pink flags, are usually marking something that I've planted lately. I'm just waiting for them to sprout. But when they're in a big bundle like that in the corner, it's because I've moved them from where I planted something because it didn't sprout. And I didn't want to take it back because I might replant it. So the flags over there are marking the pumpkin seeds that I planted. But these flags, they're just in a bunch. What else? That's a radish that's gone to seed. This is my watermelon plant. And I used the last cattle panel trellis for my peas, which we're going to get to in a second. So I just have this straight up vertical cattle panel right here helping the melon do something. Again with the marigolds, and then there's another melon over there amongst all of those radishes. I tried to companion plant with radishes this year. I don't think it made a significant difference with squash bugs, but it might have made a difference for other bugs because I didn't have much of an issue otherwise. So you can't really tell where the melon is, but it's in there. Over here, I planted a bunch of lettuce and what else? Like onion. Oh, onion seeds. There's red onion seeds and yellow whatever I had. Here's a little sidebar. I always think it's so funny when plants that vine or tendril grab a piece of wood or a stick or something. I feel like they're out to get me. Welcome to the green beans. Huh? Okay. So 3 or 4 of these plants I started in the greenhouse. That was terrible. I should not have pulled on that like that. And they've been producing. We haven't really got enough beans yet for the family to have green beans as like a side for a meal. So this is not enough beans. At least the 4 that I planted initially weren't enough. And I don't even think you can see my face because the way I put, here we go. So I didn't plant enough right off the bat for my entire family, which is like 8 people, to have green beans for like a side for dinner. So I've been succession planting. There were 4 that I started in the greenhouse, and then I put, I don't know, I didn't count them, maybe like 12. And then I put another 12. And like, so if I bring the camera over here, you can see that there's like a stair step situation where there's some that are taller than others. And I tried, but it's not enough. I apparently need more bean plants so that they all come on at the same time so I can have dinner. Here's a little overview of the beds that I recently added. And I'm going to talk about them in just a second. Just wanted you to see that there's, you know, little holes and a trellis and, yep, you need details. I get it. I get it. This is going to be another milkweed station. That's common milkweed right there that I purchased. But I have some seeds, and if it doesn't work out, I can always go and grab like some plants I have up front and put them back here. And I'm really trying to get monarchs to come to my yard because I love them and they're so cool. Here we are. All right, and these are the newest beds that I've added. So I got, you know what? I said screw it. If it doesn't germinate, it doesn't germinate. If it's too hot for it, whatever. If it's the right temperature for it, cool. But if you notice, again, we are in shade. My house is shading these beds right now. So I'm hoping that with the way the sun rises and sets in my yard, that these beds will be better for like cold crops. Coal, if you will. And I also think it's really neat that right now with this cardboard here, you can see that there's still moisture in the bed. Once the cardboard deteriorates and falls apart and the grass takes it over, I won't be able to see that. But I think that's a really cool little tidbit that I get right now. Like, wow, there's still enough water in this bed that it's doing pretty good. I'll be sad when it goes. So yeah, I'm going to list things that you're like, Diana, why did you plant that now? Because there are no rules. You can experiment all you want in your garden. You have permission, not even mine, your own. There's a mosquito that's flying right in front of the lens. Anyway, we got celery. We got peas back here that are going to be on this trellis. These are green beans. Oh, here. Green beans that are taller, that I don't have to bend over. Those back there, that's peas. This over here, more green beans. I think I did yellow squash in these two spots. There's nothing in the middle of this one because I was just done. I was like, what? What else am I going to plant today? And then over there, there's a row of kale. And then we got a row of Brussels sprouts. And we got a row of spinach. And another row of spinach. Because like I said, what am I doing? Just hoarding all these seeds? We don't know what's going to happen. But I guess you're going to have to come back and find out. I appreciate you sticking around this long. Because, whew, that was a long video. But yeah, toss me a bean or pea plant in the comments below if you got this far in the video. Subscribe if you haven't, and I'll post again when there's more to talk about. Fun!